Hey, what's good, YouTube? It is your boy Fourth and Goal. We are back again with another video, and last night's game was insane between the Lions and the Packers. First things first, I did shoot this video right after the game, but my computer it like crashed mid it getting processed, and so the file corrupted. So I just decided to just do it this morning. I'm a little hot, but the show must go on, man. It was a really great game. A lot of notes just to highlight, that I got and things like that. So let's get straight into the video, okay? Okay, so first things first, man. The first half was like very, very dominant by Detroit. Okay, so they got the ball first. They threw an interception. I think Rasul Douglas. No, it was number 20. I think the safety. Yeah, he got a pick. So I thought like, yo, this is gonna be all the Packers. I mean, they got great field position with the Lions. They made a stand. They made them take three, and they got the ball again, and they drove the ball down the field, and they looked phenomenal running the ball. David Montgomery looked phenomenal. Jahmyr Gibbs, although he just had 8 carries for 40 yards, like he looked good. Like them running the ball, it looked very, very good, man, and it was scary. And to be honest, I thought that this Packers defense was elite. I mean, they're good, but they're not elite. You know what I'm saying? Like the Steelers or like the Browns, like the Eagles. But they're a solid mid-tier defense, and it showed last night when the Lions first scored. It was just a couple. Well, Rasul Douglas got attacked twice because the first catch it was a simple man coverage versus a bigger tight end. I can't really blame him too much. And then the next play, Armand St. Brown, I mean he damn near just got cooked. It was man coverage again. So I'm not calling him sorry, but at the same time, back-to-back plays, could just be some mental errors on the second part. But the first part, I mean, I really can't blame him for that. But anyways, man, the Packers got the ball, and they just struggled to drive the ball down the field. They struggled in that first half. And Jordan Love, he threw like an interception to Jerry Jacobs. Shout out to Jerry Jacobs. They had a couple 3-and-outs, and they just could not find their footing in that first half. And we seen it, man. I mean, it was 24-3 going into halftime, and that first drive, it really had to be a tone setter for the rest of the game. And in the first half, before we go to the second half, Detroit's defense, man, they look phenomenal. Like, their defensive line, they got to Jordan Love, like, dang near each and every play. Now, yes, you can blame injury because they did lose David Bakari, like, 2 hours for the game. So, that definitely plays a big part, losing, like, one of the best tackles in the NFL. And then I think they, like, lost one other guy, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but either way, man, like Detroit, their defense, they took advantage of that. Aiden Hutchinson, he had a good game. Their defensive tackles, man, they was getting to the backfield, like they was getting to the Aaron Jones. He was in prison. He was in hell, man. And then if he did get to the linebackers, he was like shut down by Alonzo. I don't know how to say his last name. I'm sorry, but Alonzo, like the safety would drop. Like basically, man, they play phenomenal as a team that first half. I was very, very, very impressed by that. By them just playing very great team ball, team defensive ball. But then again, man, going to the second half, it is 24-3, 27-3, whatever, and the Packers, they need to score right here. Like, there is no such thing as another 3-and-out because essentially, I mean, if the Lions scored 30-3, 34-3, it's GG's basically. I think everybody knew that. And the Packers, man, they took their sweet time and they got a touchdown. And not only did they get a touchdown, but they got 2 points. So it's like 27-11 midway through the third quarter. And what do the Lions do? The Lions punt the ball, and then the Packers got the ball. They punt the ball, and then the Lions get the ball again. They get shut out, and then it's just this drive. Like this next drive is 27-11. The Lions, they're struggling offensively, and then the Packers, they found some holes in the defense and things like that. So they're building some momentum, and going out in that drive, they score another touchdown. So now it's 27-17. It's looking like a real comeback is about to happen. They're getting all the momentum. It's the start of the fourth quarter, and man, they fumbled significantly. But before we even get into that part, everybody want to talk about the third quarter ending and how, Jordan Love and that pass doesn't really count. I got mixed emotions on it, because like half the time when like quarterbacks, when they call hike, when the play clock's at zero, like it's like clear cut zero. But I guess if the refs look at it and it's zero and they look back and if they still haven't hiked it, it, or they hiked it, like it counts. I really don't know. Like I don't understand that rule or like logic. Just take it out the game. Like if it hits zero, just blow it. Please pause. By the way, but no, man, going to this next drive for the Lions, they sort of lost some momentum, but at the same time they didn't, because they drove the ball down the field and they took some clock with them, bruh. They took some clock. They pounded the ball. Jared Goff threw the ball very, very average, but it was average, or it was good enough to win them the game. Like, he didn't do anything Mahomes type or Peyton Manning type, but he didn't do anything like Jameis Winston, where the ball is in harm's way. Like, I think he played phenomenal. I honestly, like, outside that one interception, I think Jared Goff, he's a really good quarterback outside that one interception. And so they end up scoring, and it's 34-17. Just sucks out all the momentum from the Green Bay Packers, and it was pretty much GG's. They tried driving the ball down the field one more time, and pretty much, they didn't do it successfully. And man, Jerry Jacobs, man, he got 2 interceptions, man. Shout out to big Jerry Jacobs. But outside of the game, like the actual in-game depth, I want to talk about just both teams in general. Hopefully Brian Branch for the Detroit Lions, he comes back, because he's one of my favorite players, like one of my favorite rookies, and he just showed a lot of potential. He had like 12 tackles last week. I highlighted, and I'm just super excited for the future for him, and hopefully his injury doesn't really hold him back too long, or it's nothing serious, because in the NFL, like one bad ankle twist and your career could be done, and that's a sad reality. So hopefully he comes back, and he comes back even better. But for the Detroit Lions, man, their past 3 their past 3 drives have been very, very, very good, and you can just see the dividends paying now, and they're paying in very, very high quality. Like their 2021 picks, they had a couple like role players that are now shining. In 2022, obviously you had Aiden Hutchinson, and this past year, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jack Campbell. You had a couple other guys, and their team building has just been phenomenal. Okay, so looking past, man, these next 4 games for the Lions, it is very realistic for them to go another 3-1 in the next 4 games. Playing the Panthers, I just think they're just a better team than the Panthers. They can get to Bryce Young and things like that. The Buccaneers and the Ravens, they're probably going to go 1-1 between those two. Obviously, both of those teams, they have a lot more experience. Baker Mayfield, depending on how he's playing, will determine a lot. And then for the Ravens, injuries and things like that, if guys will come back, like Marlon Humphrey, Mark Andrews, if he's 100% healthy and things like that. So I think one of those games they will drop, but we'll see, because at the same time they can have injuries and guys can go down. So it is what it is. But the Raiders defense is just, to me, it's just a joke. It don't even look all that good. Like, outside of Crosby, I just and maybe Epps, I don't really see anybody on the Raiders slowing this offense down. And then their offense, sometimes it didn't look all that good to me when I seen them play versus the Steelers. And I just, honestly, again, that's 4 weeks out, and things can change. Guys can get hurt even for the Lions. So we'll see. And then they go into that bye week, and so we got to talk about the Packers now, because the Packers, it's very interesting. Like, I got mixed emotions. Now the Packers, on the other hand, it's sort of hard to really determine how they're going to play the next couple weeks. Because first off, they won't have David Bakari for the next 4 games or 3 games. I think the first game counted because he's on IR. He can't play. They don't have Devondre Campbell, he's out with an ankle injury. Jair Alexander, like, he's questionable. Aaron Jones, I don't think did he play yesterday? Yeah, he did play yesterday. Okay, so yeah, Aaron Jones is out there, but like Christian Watson, like, he still has injuries, and Rashawn Gary, like, he got hurt last night. It just is the Packers, like, they didn't look good guarding guarding the run. Like, they haven't looked good all season. Like, but John Robinson and the Falcons, they look phenomenal. The Saints and the Bears, or the Saints really, they sort of struggle. I mean, the Bears, I mean, they just suck. So I don't even count the Bears, but they just don't look good defending the run. And Quay Walker, like, he had that mental error where, he jumped over the center on the field goal. I mean, who cares? But Quay Walker, I think, he is a bright spot on the defense, and Rasul Douglas is too. But Rasul Douglas, I see him as a corner number 2, not in corner number 1. I think if Jair Alexander was there in some coverages, he would make the plays that Rasul Douglas wouldn't have made. And I just think, he's a better number 2, not a number 1. Hopefully that makes sense. But going to the next 4 games, they got a little bit of a break because they do play the Raiders next Monday night. So they're having like 8-9 days of rest for a Monday night game at Vegas. So that's pretty good. And then they on a bye week, and so pretty much they got like a 2-week break, or guys off injury got like 2 weeks break, so that way they can rest up, get healed up, because they do play the Denver Broncos. I do think they can beat the Broncos, and it's in Denver. I mean, it don't really matter. I mean the Broncos defense at this point is it's horrible. But they do play the Vikings. That's going to be a very interesting matchup. They do play the Rams and then the Steelers, and I believe that's 5 games. But I mean, that bye week game and then the Raiders, it is what it is. But the Rams and the Steelers, I do think they'll drop those games, and they'll be right at like 500 again. So it's just very interesting. Not only they can make a trade, sign somebody, they gotta defend the run a lot better, because but John Robinson, he ran all over them back in week 2, and then last night the Detroit Lions, they ran all over them. Jacobs from the Raiders, if the blocking gets right, he's gonna run all over them. And so I just think that they gotta address the run, because even last year they didn't really defend the run that well, and they didn't really address it. And something has to fix, because if teams can run the ball all over you, it's over. Like, it's over, because now they're chewing the clock away, and there's no urgency to rush, because especially if they're playing ahead. Like, if the Packers are down and the team's running the ball, like, you're going to get results like last night, where a team can just waste about 5 minutes of just pure precious clock, and your quarterback is not on the field anymore. And so, they got to defend the run a lot better. But at the same time, I will cut them some slack, because, again, they are missing some key guys, in the front 7. Campbell, Gary, he got hurt a little bit, and so I'll cut them some slack. But, they can make some moves. But besides all that, man, that's going to do it for this video. I really loved that game last night. It was a phenomenal game. I know I haven't really been dropping like in-depth videos and things like that, because I want to wait until week 4, because we get a general understanding of how teams are playing. So I will be dropping a video on like Tuesday or Wednesday of like guys that I'm really interested, like highs and lows, because I got a couple guys that I want to really talk about, but I want to give them chances. And if they play poorly this week, it's going to be a video dropping about them. I'll give you guys one name, or one guy that I'm talking about. The guy from the Broncos, their cornerback number 2. I can't think of his name. Not Pastor Tang, but the other guy. Like, I'm looking at him play, and then his stats, they look horrible. But I'm trying to give him, some little slack, because it is early in the season. But at the same time, it's been 4 games, and if you get cooked, say goodbye, man. But I'm out, man. Peace.